The Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the United States Capitol will be in order. The Select Committee is meeting this evening to consider a report on the resolution recommending the House of Representatives find Mark Randolph Meadows in contempt of Congress for refusal to comply with a subpoena duly issued by the Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the United States Capitol. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare the committee in recess at any time. I'll now recognize myself for an opening statement. Before I start my statement, let me, on behalf of the committee, add our condolences and prayers to the people of Kentucky and surrounding states on the devastation they've received during the tornadoes. Our hearts and prayers go out to all those impacted. This week, I expect that roughly a dozen key witnesses will provide testimony on the record in our investigation. We'll hear from many more informally as we continue to gather facts about the violence of January 6th and its causes. That should put us well north of the 300 mark in terms of witnesses who have given us information. Add to that more than 30,000 records and nearly 250 substantive tips on our tip line, and anyone listening at home tonight, if you have any information you want to share with us, you can find our tip line on the Select Committee's website, january6.house.gov. The Court of Appeals here in Washington has ruled quickly in our favor regarding the Select Committee's work to uncover relevant information. And day to day, we are getting a clearer picture of what happened, who was involved, and who paid for it, and where the money went. So I'm pleased to report we're making swift progress, and before too long, our findings will be out in the open. We'll have public hearings, we'll tell this story to the American people, but we won't do it piecemeal. We'll do it when we can tell the story all at once, from start to finish, not leaving anyone guessing and not allowing it to fade into the memories of last week's news. This story is too important. The stakes are too high. We have to do this job right. And that means we have to address the handful of outliers soberly and appropriately. That's why we're here this evening. The Select Committee's report referring Mr. Meadows for criminal contempt charges is clear and compelling. As White House Chief of Staff, Mr. Meadows played a role in or was witness to key events leading up to and including the January 6th assault on the United States Capitol. Don't let lawsuits or op-eds about executive privilege by Mr. Meadows or his representatives confuse you. It comes down to this. Mr. Meadows started by doing the right thing, cooperating. He handed over records that he didn't try to shield behind some excuse. But in an investigation like ours, that's just the first step. When the records raise questions, as these most certainly do, you have to come in and answer those questions. And when it's time for him to follow the law, come in and testify on those questions. He changed his mind and told us to pound sand. He didn't even show up. Now, this happened the same day his book was published, the same book that goes into detail about matters the Select Committee is reviewing. It also details conversations he had with President Trump and others, conversations we want to hear more about. He had also appeared on national television discussing the events of January 6th. He has no creditable excuse for stonewalling the Select Committee's investigation. We did receive another letter today from Mr. Meadows' attorney asking that we not hold his client in criminal contempt. Without objection, that letter will be made part of the record. A small group of people have gotten a lot of attention because of their defiance, but many others have taken a different path and provided important information about January 6th and the context in which the riot occurred. Anyone who wants to cooperate with our investigation can do so. Nearly everyone has. Our democracy was inches from ruin. Our system of government was stretched to the breaking point. Members and staff were terrorized. Police officers fought hand to hand for hours. People lost their lives. The Select Committee recently toured the Capitol and saw firsthand what our brave Capitol Police had to endure and heard them say, had it not been for the Metropolitan Police's timely arrival, the rioters would have succeeded. God only knows what the outcome would have been if that had occurred. We want to figure out why and share that information with the American people. And either you're on the side of helping us figure out why, or you are trying to stop us from getting those answers. You can parade out whatever argument you want, but really, that's all there is to it. In real life, there aren't a lot of bright line moments. This is one of them. And if you're listening at home, Mr. Meadows, Mr. Bannon, Mr. Clark, I want you to know this. History will be written about these times, about the work this committee has undertaken, and history will not look upon any of you as martyrs. History will not look upon you as a victim. History will not dwell on your long list of privileged claims or your legal sleight of hand. History will record that in a critical moment in our democracy, most people were on the side of finding the truth, of providing accountability, of strengthening our system for future generations. And history will also record in this critical moment that some people were not, that some people hid behind excuses, went to great lengths to avoid answering questions and explaining what they had done and what they knew. I predict that history won't be kind to those people. What's especially jarring about the referral we are considering tonight is that Mr. Meadows was a member of this body for more than 7 years. He was a leading voice in certain corners, even briefly the ranking member of the Oversight and Reform Committee. It's not hard to locate records of his time in the House and find a Mr. Meadows full of indignation because at the time, a prior administration wasn't cooperating with the congressional investigation to his satisfaction. Whatever legacy he thought he left in the House, this is his legacy now. His former colleagues singing him out for criminal prosecution because he wouldn't answer questions about what he knows about a brutal attack on our democracy. That's his legacy. But he hasn't left us any choice. Mr. Meadows put himself in this situation, and he must now accept the consequences. So I will support the Select Committee's adoption of this report, recommending the House cite Mark Randall Meadows for contempt of Congress and refer him to the Department of Justice for prosecution. I'll now yield to a distinguished leader of the Select Committee.